Benedict, I really want to focus on an incredibly important paper that you authored, as we've mentioned already. Can you just briefly explain what the paper, Future ERP Systems, a Research Agenda, is all about? Just from a high level, maybe share with our listeners the motivation behind that paper and what it's the general idea behind it.
The origin and the idea of the paper is that many challenges we face, that you face during your consulting work, and many clients face during the implementation and work with enterprise systems, are rooted in their technological design. And to that extent, we wanted to look at the question in how far the technical design of enterprise system and of, I would say, future-proof or next level enterprise systems should look like to diminish the headache some of us are having and yet contribute to a better future. In this regard, we see that the digital transformation and also changing business requirements and the business landscape pose new requirements to the dominating class of enterprise systems. We also saw from a research perspective that many of the so far conducted research always had a life cycle oriented view, meaning we look at like the pre-implementation phase, the implementation phase, and the post-implementation phase, and what are critical success factors. And this is an important perspective from a management view. However, we see, as mentioned before, that some of the issues might be rooted in the technical design and how these enterprise systems are shaped. So we were missing that perspective, and my team and I were interested to review on that and to see whether we contribute to that by reviewing research of the past 5 years. We identified problems that frequently occur in practice, but also in research terms, and looked in what extent or how we can map those problems, like to the layer of enterprise systems, where we usually have 3 to 5 different layers, including the user interface, a functionality perspective, and a data model perspective from a broad sense. And by that, we're looking for addressing the issues we see in the practice by designing and improving the enterprise system architecture, and by that to design the next generation enterprise systems.
And as you'd mentioned, Benedict, you're doing the research to address the issues that you see in practice, right? And so what's known as ERP research, in our space, and there's lots of great research. And some of it, as you'd mentioned, focus on some of the technical components of ERP systems. How do you make them more adaptive and user-friendly and useful within a particular business context? And one of the things that we talk about all the time is this idea of the triad, right? Successful ERP implementation is all about people, processes, and technology. And the way in which you go about managing those three pieces has a great deal of consequences on the success at the end of the day. And if you can have the right technology or the ERP platform to begin with, that can certainly make the process piece and the human piece of implementation perhaps that much more effective and efficient. And any changes in the dynamics of that relationship between the triad can certainly affect one or both of the other two elements of that triad. Just fascinating. And, there is a great deal of work, ERP research, and there's a lot of research that, as you propose, there's research agendas in this space because there's a demand for it. There's a need for it because there's a real opportunity in practice, as you'd mentioned, to try to address some of these issues and some of these concerns.